everyone. Thank you for joining. We'll give it a few more minutes to have some more people join, and then we'll kick off. Thank you for sparing the time to join the second Africa Angel Academy Cohort 11 info session. We're pumped for the session and so much in store in terms of gems, insights, and tricks for the upcoming program.
As you just joined, I'm supposed to be part of the host, but my computer has packed up in the last minute. So I've joined Fiona, who's our program manager. So I'm going to be sitting next to her. Yeah, we're going to have a quick intro session where everybody will get to introduce themselves just in a second. Yeah, but feel free to introduce yourself in the chat and maybe where you're dialing in from and how the day is looking like. We are in Nairobi, where the Africa Tech Summit is happening. Just in case you're in Nairobi also, please say hi. There's a couple of side events happening. I'm going to be at an event tomorrow for TLCom. If you're on any of the other events, just let us know. Perhaps we can join you somewhere.
Even you and Fiona are like emulating the AAA family, you know?
Yeah, we were sticking by the brand color. David is too. Alex.
Oh, I'm in a bit of black, but I've got colorful pants on with red and blue and white. So, I mean, I'm sort of living the brand.
It wasn't planned, I promise.
I think we should get started.
And I think if you've got any questions as we go, please feel free to pop them in the chat as well. If there's any burning questions, then we can highlight them and discuss them as we go.
Brilliant. I think we'll kick off with all of us. So just getting started, thank you so much for joining us for today's session. We are the info session for the 11th cohort of the Africa Angel Academy, which is going to be starting in March. So very happy that you've been able to join us. We'll just jump in. And Fiona, if we just jump to the next slide so that we can get into, we have a quick poll. We wanted just to get a sense of the people who are in the room. Our agenda for the day, let me just jump back for a second. Our agenda for the day is really just to walk you through the academy and walk you through what you expect for this program, how we run our program, and then getting some testimonials. Actually, not testimonials. We're going to have some of our alumni who've gone through the program before just join us for a quick panel session where they'll share a bit of the experience. And the whole idea here is for them to walk through how they experience the AAA program, what they're doing now, what they've done after the program, and hopefully also pick some questions from you, just in case if you want to find out what kind of experience they had during that. We plan to be done by 7 Kenya time, so in the next 42 minutes, and we'd like to keep time, so we'll jump on to the next slide. Okay, so we have a quick QR code, a quick session there just to get a sense of your expectation. So if you don't mind just picking your phone, going to, scanning the QR code and going to Mentimeter. I'll request Fiona to just take us to the Mentimeter page. And we'd like just to ask a few questions in terms of where you're from, what your expectations are for today, if you have any questions, and, also, your experience from an angel investing perspective. What we've seen for the cohorts that we've hosted at AAA, we've over 700 alumni who've been part of the program. What we've seen with them is that we find that there's a number of them that have not made investments, A number of them have made investments. But the whole idea then is, you join these to be able to formalize your angel investment journey, and at times just to get started. And so don't feel shy to share your level of experience. That's why we are all here to learn from each other. And so Fiona will just quickly start the poll, and we can start seeing. And I can see the results are already starting to come in. Okay. Okay, we're just going to share the screen. So I'm seeing a lot of Nairobi, Amsterdam, I'm seeing South Africa represented also. You'll see that in a second. We have, I think yeah, there we go. Cape Town, Doha, Germany. Welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us. Really well represented across the entire globe. I'm seeing people from DRC, from Nigeria. Welcome everybody. And we'll jump straight to the next question because of time. And then the next question is about what you'd like to get from today's session. And I see we already have some answers. So insights and lessons learned. This will want, is it worth paying 1,000? 1,000 euros. Actually, it's not 1,000 euros. It's cheaper than that. It's $1,000. So if that was an issue for you, hopefully now you can join. It's $1,000. So there's a bit of a slight discount there. The angel investment journey map. And then someone spoke about the overview of the program and whether it is a fit for me as someone who is not sure whether I want to enter the angel investor space. Well, we will go through, the program is structured in such a way that you go through the whole angel investor journey. You also get to meet with lots of other investors within the space, angel investors, cohort members. And so you get to learn a lot about the ecosystem, about the angel investment space. And so hopefully that will be able to convince you whether you want to get into it. But I would I don't recommend any investments, but there's lots of advantages of being part of this community. You learn a lot, you get to meet with some really good founders, but more on that once we get to the program. Then see the side of angel investing and so forth. Okay, brilliant, some good responses there. We can move on to the next question. Have you already made an investment? And this is moving. I'm seeing a number of people have already made an investment. 3.6. Okay, 4.2. Yes, it's 6 persons who made an investment. Then we have a couple of people who've not made an investment, 7 at the moment. And then there's 12 who are about to make investments. That's good. We found that for some of the people who joined the program and they're about to make an investment, they find the journey useful because then they're sort of like learning and doing the practical at the same time. So they're using the knowledge they're getting on a day-to-day basis. Thank you very much for participating in the poll. I think we'll now jump straight onto the slides, and we'll try to keep them brief because we want to hear much more from you and the questions that you have. As we go through the slides, if you have any questions, please feel free to type them in the chat, and then we'll respond to those questions in a bit. Okay, so just then continuing from there. Go to the next slide. Just a bit about the Africa Angel Academy, and excuse the technology today. If you've just joined us, my computer's camera just packed up in the last minute, so we are having to make do with Fiona next to me here. But just a few things about the academy. The first thing is that we've been around since 2020. That's when the academy was officially launched. And since then, we've done quite a bit of work. We've trained over 700 angel investors from in 10 different cohorts. We're very proud that the last cohort that we had was an all-female cohort with over 80 angel investors from across the continent. So far, our alumni are across 26 African countries from the continent. And so most probably from the different places that you just mentioned you're in, you're bound to find an alumni of AAA. And that's the community we're trying to build as we keep moving. And we're very proud of some of the stats that we have here. About 48% of the investors, or at least the angels who've gone through the program, being female investors. As if we're looking at the stats around funding across the continent, there is a serious challenge in terms of getting funding to female founders. And we're hoping that through getting more female founders to train as angel investors, we'll be getting more investments going to these female founders. Just moving on, the program is by two key partners. One of them is Victoria Ventures. We're based out of Nairobi. I'm one of the principals at Victoria Ventures, and we'll get to meet some of the other team members. We run the Victoria Business Angels Network, which so far has made 15 angel investments into different companies based across the continent, most of them in Kenya, and happy to share a bit more about that at a later point. But I'm also going to invite Alex to speak a bit about Viridian, who's also the other co-partner for Triple.
Hi, everyone. So nice to see you here. My name's Alex Fraser. I'm the CEO of Viridian. And together with Stephen, his team, and David, who's also on the call, we are the implementing and, I suppose, founding partners of the African Angel Academy, which we designed in 2019, quickly redesigned in 2020 to build a scalable program, and have been working together for the past 5 years to deliver 10 cohorts. Viridian works not only with angel investors, we also work with entrepreneurs, and we work with hubs, and we're based in Cape Town, South Africa. So if you're around, pop in and say hi, but we are often on the ground across the continent. So yeah, hope to see many of you soon.
Maybe this is a good segue to also invite David to say hi. David was also the other co-founder.
Oh, and I'm an angel investor. Sorry, I wasn't wearing my angel hat. I also have a co-founder of an angel group, and we specifically invest into female-founded businesses. So I'm very passionate about gender lens investing, and that's called Dazzle Angels, and I've also co-invested with a number of our AAA alumni.
Thank you, Stephen, and thank you, Alex. Hi, everyone. So my name is David. I've been part of the AAA family from day zero. Have been sort of actively working with entrepreneurs and investors in Africa for about 15 years. And AAA is by far the most fun and rewarding program I'm involved with. I am secretly very proud of the work that we've done. Just connecting with so many great aspiring and active investors, and all trying to contribute, give back, support promising founders, support each other. For me, AAA it's not a trading program. It's a network of people that are all interested in furthering the economic development of the African continent, and also have a bit of fun and be involved with the latest technology and all the fun part that comes with angel investing. I'm not based on the continent, which makes angel investing slightly different for me. I am part of a angel community called Rally Cap, which is more of a fund structure. So we do a lot of due diligence together, a lot of deal sourcing together. We do deals together, but the structure is different from maybe other angel networks. But for me, it's probably the most convenient way to be involved with what's happening on the continent. And then Valley Cap itself has made over 70 investments or so. Very much looking forward to engage with all of you on the call. Also, any questions that go unanswered, feel free to reach out, obviously, to Fiona or Stephen, Alex, or myself. Anything we do to help. So yeah, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for joining, and looking forward to get to know you a little bit better. Thanks.
David. And I think we should also introduce as part of the next slide, Fiona, who will see the next two of Fiona's laptop today. Fiona is our program manager, and Fiona can say hi.
Everyone, thank you for joining. I'm super excited to be working alongside such great minds. Angel investing for me is a personal touch due to being a failed founder before, once in my life, a couple of times, and the power of angel investing really believe and impact early stage startups as they get their ideas off the ground is something that I'm extremely passionate about, having worked with entrepreneurs across the ecosystem for the past decade prior to branching into angel investing. Also an aspiring angel investor, so learning as I become. Ikigai is a motto I live by, so I'm excited to hopefully see a lot of you as part of the upcoming cohort.
Thank you, Fiona. We have other team members, Michelle and Nduta, who you'll hopefully get to meet once you join the program. But we're very happy to have you here. So I realized that I forgot to just sort of like speak about the why of AAA. And it's very simple. We want to have more angels in the continent who are making investments in the continent, and we want to get more cash to early stage startups that deserve to get the capital. If you've been following the funding ecosystem in the continent over the last couple of years, you'll hear of something called tourist investors who sort of like came in sort of like the period around 2022, 2021, 2022. And then in the last couple of years, we've been thinking about the funding winter. And we believe that by having more angel investors in the continent, we can start addressing that challenge around funding for early stage companies across the continent. And really how we do this as the academy, we have 3 key offerings. The first key offering is that you can come in and purchase any of our content, self-paced learning. So you can decide to buy either an individual module or buy a combination of modules, which we're calling learning journeys. So you could potentially choose to do an introduction to angel investing, do something that's a bit intermediate or something that's a bit advanced. But the good thing about the people who join this program is that they'll be going through the whole journey from introduction all the way to advanced. And so that's going to be a huge plus. You could also decide to join any of our cohorts, and this is one of the cohorts, the first self-sponsored cohort we're running. We do work a lot with several partners who've supported us in training over 700 angel investors. And so when we have any partners we've reached out to and they'd like to support some angels, we do call for applications and you can apply for those. But at the moment, we are running a self-sponsored cohort. The last thing is that once you're done with the program, you join our alumni. And that's where the fun begins. We have a couple of really good, really good programs we are starting for alumni. One is to support them to make investments. So not just training. We're calling the alumni mentorship program, where you'll get to participate in that program once you finish this program. And it's all geared towards getting you to do your first deal, especially for the angels who probably have not been able to join an angel network. More on that once you become an alumni of the program. We also have quarterly sessions, which we call Angel Connect, where we get to discuss different topics around the early stage investment ecosystem. We have a session coming up sometime in March.
March 26th. Yeah. Look out on our socials to get more details.
Which is going to be focused on distressed assets. So if you've made an investment and maybe things are not moving as expected, we'll be delving into that. Some awesome speakers joining us for that conversation. So we hope that then you'll be able to join us for the program. And I can just jump to the next slide. In terms of who we find as angel investors across the continent, number one, there's lots of professionals who are joining as angel investors, mid to late career. The key thing here is that you have a certain amount of experience, you've built up your networks, so you're able to work closely with startups to mentor them, to make introductions for them, to spend a bit of time with them. We find lots of entrepreneurs who are also joining. People who've gone through the journey, they know the pain, and they want to come back and they want to give back, or they want to support some of the budding entrepreneurs coming on board. People who've seen some successful exits. In terms of returns, we have people who are focused both on return and also on impact, and both of them together. The whole thing about angel investing, and that's why I think it's important to go through such a program, is that it's a risky investment class. And so if you're just focused on return and you've not gone through a program to just at least understand how to invest in that asset class, it can be much riskier. If you've gone through such a program, I think it reduces the risk to a certain extent, and you get to meet with other angel investors who support you in the journey from due diligence, from adding value to the startups, and that reduces the risk to a certain extent. And what we've also found around the angel investors is that there's lots of investors who are making investments through syndicates. So especially now we're seeing some of the groups like NIBAN, if you look at some of their reports, they mentioned that you have angels who invest as little as $1,000 all the way to $5,000, and they'll put all this money together, and you'll have a syndicate that comes together with $50,000 and it's making an investment. And so, we have different kinds of angels, those who are playing at much bigger ticket sizes, and those who are sort of like playing at much smaller sizes. The whole idea is putting together syndicates and investing together, and then leveraging the power of group investing, which is one of the core things that we really encourage through this AAA. And just moving on to the next slide there, the other key thing just to mention about the academy is that we also do a lot of work in terms of knowledge sharing. And we have a couple of case studies that we've written. If you go to our website, africaangelacademy.com, and you want to just understand how some of the amazing angel networks which are out there have been created, there's a couple of angel case studies that we've created out there that you can read more about what the journey to create an angel group looks like, all the way from beginning to where you have a stable angel group. We also have technical notes that you put out. If you're looking at different ecosystems and you're wondering how to make investments, we've partnered with a couple of law firms. We've created a couple of legal guides. These are just a sample of them. I think in total, we probably have 7 countries that have been covered. We're always looking to add more countries onto that. But what the guides help you with is just understanding what's the best instrument to use for investment, what's the legal structure in the countries that we've captured in this case, what are some of the tax considerations you need to have. And so that's some free resources you can go online to the website and you can be able to download. The program. This program is for you if you meet the following criteria. Number 1, as I mentioned at the beginning, you're either making investments already, or you're just thinking about getting started with your angel investment journey. If you're already making investments, what we found from the alumni who've gone through the program, the key thing they found as a value add is formalizing their angel investment journey and getting to meet with other potential angels and angels who've made investments where they get them to collaborate on deals. We've seen people doing cross-border deals where you have a deal in a particular country, but then angels coming together and making investments around. If you've not already made an investment, of course, with a good introduction around just the whole angel investment journey. Of course, the other key thing, you need to be thinking about deploying capital. It's not a requirement for you to deploy capital when you're going through the program, though we highly recommend that you start thinking about that and at least you have some cash to deploy capital. What you'll find is just like anything else, you learn most of it when you're out there. It's a contact sport at the end of the day. So once you're out there, you're evaluating a deal, you're looking to make an investment, you'll find that you pick out much more than what you pick fast. And then the last key thing is that you aim to network. As mentioned, we have a huge pool of alumni. Each of our cohorts has a healthy mix of people from different countries. I think you've just seen from the poll we did at the beginning that we have a number of people from different parts of the continent. And so to that extent, networking is a big thing that we think is a key offering, both within the cohort, with the facilitators, with the speakers who show up for the different sessions. In terms of what you need to keep in mind, just in case the first thing is that we are closing the applications on 19th of February. Yeah, that's next week. We decided to move this just past the Valentine's so that you can, any final amounts of money, you can direct them towards, the AAA. So 19th of February is when we are closing applications. Please make sure you submit your applications. We'll start the program officially on March 3rd, 2025. So prepare yourself. The program takes 13 weeks. And so all the way from March going all the way into May, we'll be going through the program. The fee is $1,000, not 1,000 euros. So there's a slight saving there, as I mentioned earlier. And the program is self-paced. It's both online, but then we have lots of sessions, and maybe we can just jump to the next slide. In terms of how we set the program is that you have 12 modules that you go through online. We release these on a weekly basis. And so at the beginning of the week, you'll get a module, go through, and then we'll have bi-weekly live Q&A sessions where we get to invite speakers, angel investors, early stage investors who can come in and can share a couple of, their experience from an angel investing perspective. We'll also be there sharing the same experiences. And I'm seeing Alex has a hand up. Alex?
Sorry, I lost Fiona's screen and it was actually me at a webinar and I thought everyone had. And so I'm just going to be quiet now. Sorry.
Okay, cool. Feel free to add anything, Alex and David, as I move on. I know I'm going through, I want to keep time today. We also have expert masterclasses. So we usually have a couple of masterclasses across the 12-week program. We have a valuations masterclass where we go deeper into valuation. That's one of the hottest topics that comes up in terms of what's the right value when you're making an investment into a startup, which doesn't have revenues or has very little revenues, but they're pricing themselves at $5 million or $10 million. How do you think about that? So we spend a lot of time around that. We have a masterclass on negotiations where we get to spend a bit of time considering how to negotiate with startups, your term sheets and so forth. We have an awesome masterclass that David runs on exits, just speaking about how to exit your startup. Where is the money coming from? We're not just pumping in cash. We're also looking to exit part of that. And so, yeah, we have a couple of masterclasses, and those are online with speakers and both, of course, the team from AAA. And then once you're done with all that, and hopefully, based on the partners you're working with, we do mentor groups that form out of the cohorts that we put together, but that is subject to getting sponsorship from partners that we're working with. So that's how the program is typically structured, and we can share much more around that. In terms of the content, I'm not going to spend too much time there, but there you can see we start from introduction to angel investing, going all the way till the last week where we have startup showcases. If you just look at how that journey has been structured from the first week all the way till the end, it's all geared towards understanding the typical angel investor journey. So you understand the initial introduction, what's your strategy, how do you source for deals, how do you structure deals, due diligence, valuation, and so forth. So that's the entire journey. And I think that someone would ask that question in terms of whether you get to understand the process really well. We do go through the entire process. And then on top of that, as I mentioned, towards the end, we organize for Startup Showcase. And in the Startup Showcase, what we aim to do is to get startups that are looking to raise funding, and to within the people who join together with our alumni, you can choose to make investments to those startups. They're usually recommended by other angel investors, and so they're startups which are ready to raise funding. I should have mentioned that our sessions are usually in the evening, right? And so we're not going to steal any time from your day, just at the end of your day, which means that you can keep focusing on your day-to-day, and then you join us for 2 to 3 hours, in a week. Half of that is you going through the modules, and then we have another half, which is really just joining the session that we've organized to make sure that then we're networking with each other and we're learning from each other and from the speakers that you bring in for the different sessions. I'm going to allow Fiona just to come in and just walk us through how the e-learning platform looks like, and then she'll invite Alex for the final session. Thank you.
Thanks, Stephen. The learning journey is super seamless and super simple through our learning platform, Thinkific. What you expect to see once you are enrolled in the program, as you're setting up, this would be your platform to create your account. Once you do create your account, you will have the student dashboard. That's what you see on the left-hand side, which will have the 2025 African Angel Academy Self-Sponsored Cohort Program, which is our cohort 11. And when you do click on that, you will have a screen showing the navigation panel with the course outline on the left and the work itself in terms of the content on the right hand side. You're able to maximize and minimize it, and at the bottom of each page right here you will see a prompt to click and continue. Please note that with every module that we offer within the program, there is a prerequisite to complete a quiz, not graded at all, but just to be able to help you retain and see, retain the content and see where you may have missed and would like to revisit a video recording or an angel interview to be able to grasp and master the content a bit more as you continue throughout the journey. That's what you would expect to see. We'll now move on to the alumni panel. Super excited for this. I'll invite Alex to introduce our wonderful alumni and panelists for the day, and see what the experience was about in the program. Over to you, Alex.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Fiona. And Kate, I can see your question in the chat, so we're going to get going with that as well. But before we answer some questions, we always think it's great to hear from our alumni, and we have Martin and Jacqueline here today, both of which have completed the African Angel Academy and have gone on to do amazing things. Jacqueline, would you like to give a quick introduction to yourself and then a few points on your angel investment/investment journey, and then Martin will jump over to you.
Thank you so much, Alex. Good evening, everyone. My name is Jacqueline Iminza Anyamba. I'm the Chief Operating Officer for EAVCA, or my 8 to 5 p.m. Monday to Friday, and a first-time angel investor, which is very exciting, and especially because I have a very unconventional story as to how I landed on angel investing, and being part of AAA female-only cohort last year was literally the I think the push I needed to, get me started and to just build the confidence I needed to get going. So I don't know if Alex, you'd like me to get into the why, the how now, or allow Martin to introduce himself, then we can get into the discussions further.
Yeah, I think Jacqueline, I'd love to ask Martin for a quick intro, and then I'm going to jump straight back to you.
Yeah, so thanks, guys. My name is Martin Warioba from Tanzania. I think I was in cohort 5 or 6. It feels like a long time ago, but it's not. But yeah, obviously, been involved in angel investment for a while now. We have invested into 2 startups in Tanzania. We have formed an angel network in Tanzania, and recently I've joined the board of Africa Business Angel Network across Africa.
Fantastic, Martin. Are we really pleased that you have joined ABAN and are leading the East Africa chapter as well. Jacqueline, I would love to jump back to you because, I mean, working for EVCA 9 to 5, your 9 to 5 is investments all day, every day. So I'm interested to know how AAA was different from kind of everything else you've come across and pushed you into angel investing, even though you come from the investment space.
Thank you. And that's a very important question, especially for anyone who's just getting started and is having all these sort of unanswered questions. I'd say before joining EAVCA, I was actually in venture capital, but I was mainly on the operations side and providing portfolios support, technical assistance support to the portfolio companies. So I was not actively investing. And while I was providing the technical assistance, I think sitting on outside of the investment team, I found myself questioning a lot of, things that were happening at the time, looking at the investments that we were making, the strategies, and even the businesses that, we were looking at. And this was a sub-Saharan focused VC fund. And so that is when my curiosity was ignited. And as I questioned this, I started to ask myself, what can I do to, contribute in a meaningful way to the ecosystem and, just be part of the team or the group that contributes to the African startup ecosystem. By the time I joined EAVCA, I now have the privilege of sort of sitting at the apex of the industry. So I have more in-depth access to industry insights, industry happenings, trends, and interacting a lot more with a wide range of not just investors, but also the businesses, so business founders, because our job is to mainly, facilitate business relationships and promote an investment-friendly environment. And so the more I've been doing this job, I think I've been driven a lot more with my personal purpose in life, which is to create positive change and leave the world a better place. And the question has been, how can I achieve that? And so I found myself thinking so passionately about saving the world that saw me, jumping very naively into, sort of an investment that did not work out quite well. And after losing money, I decided to pay the school fees at AAA so that I can learn. And I was not just looking to learn, but I was also very keen on connecting with like-minded individuals, people that I can be able to, learn from, share experiences. But most importantly was I now discovered that there's, you don't necessarily have to do this alone. There's ways you can invest with other people. And so in as much as I came from a VC background, I'd say it was a slightly different kind of setup. Angel investment is more of an individual, a personal decision and a personal journey, which means you're putting in your hard-earned money and effort and time. I did not have this at the back of my mind when I decided to, back a team that I thought I believed in and I could bet on them, until I realized when the business failed was, one, I did not even have an understanding of what investment instruments to use. And the biggest mistake I did was, doing it alone, believing that given my VC knowledge, I could just get into angel investing and crack it. So it was very important for me to take a break, reflect, and sort of identify how can I be a better angel investor. And that is where AAA came in quite handy. So it was very useful, especially just going through the simple processes of deal sourcing, deal screening, understanding the investment instruments and what's fit for angel investors, and also gaining a wider perspective in terms of why are you, interested in angel investing and what is required of you. Yeah.
Thanks, Jacqueline. Martin, I'm going to switch to you because I could hear you laughing, and I'm sure I also laughed as well when Jacqueline was talking about school fees and paying school fees on your first few angel investments. Jacqueline, your story is the same as me. I came out of a VC background. My first angel deal, which I did by myself, was a complete and utter flop. And I also paid my school fees there. So Martin, I'd love to talk to you about just, it's $1,000 to come on this course. Do you think that's expensive? And maybe just reflecting on some of the school fees you'll pay and how much those could potentially be if you decide to just become an angel anyway without kind of going through a program like AAA.
Thanks, Alex. So I also paid the school fees, I remember, but I always go back to, I think even Google said it again today, it's a contact sport. So if you allow yourself to play and get in contact, the fee pays itself back very quickly. So I think sometimes we get worried, is it too much? But what you gain out of it, it's a lot. My background is in software development. I've worked a lot in financial service industry. I've done before a lot of kind of quote-unquote investment, but in a very unstructured way. What I got out of this program is how to structure my investment approach, how to refine due diligence, how to connect with other investors. So if I sum up everything else that I've got in the last 4 years, it's totally worth it paying that $1,000 that I paid for. It has paid back many, many times already.
Thanks, Martin. And I think, the other thing is, with the world of internet, there is a lot of information online. what do you think, and Jacqueline, I'm going to go to you to give Martin also a little bit of time to think, but I would love to know, what do you think some of the most valuable aspects of the AAA program were for you? And what was like an unexpected benefit from the program?
So I think for me, it's one, it's the structured approach that we get taught, right? And then the mix of the program itself. So self-learning, you can learn on your own. You've got master classes, and some things, even if you go online, I mean, we talk about valuations, or you talk about exits. These things, even if when you go online, and there's tons of materials, you say, but sometimes you just want to have somebody who has been there, has done it, breaking it down to you, you being able to ask questions, you being able to hear what others are asking. Because sometimes it's not just about the facilitator. You could be sitting with other 30 people and they're asking questions that you never thought about before. So to me, that combination of the program, and then especially what you get after the program, we speak about the alumni group. All this is the network that you can reach out to, people within your country, people within your region, all over the world. So to me, I think you can go online. I mean, I go to YouTube sometimes and listen to things, but you're on your own. While here, you have about 700 people as a community.
Thanks, Martin. Jacqueline.
Yeah, just to add to what Martin had said, I think I'd say the other thing is the comfort of learning in a group with people who are also seeking the same kind of knowledge. So it gives you a bit of comfort just knowing you're not alone. The networks are really, really important. I've been able to, grow my networks and, build even friendships out of the cohort and beyond, including being part of the alumni. But most importantly, understanding the business basics was a great benefit for me. And I really loved the sessions where you have, experienced angel investors sharing their real life journey. So you had different speakers coming in between the sessions, and that was very encouraging one, and it was also very eye-opening, and just understanding that there's people who've done it. For me personally, I felt a lot of consolation to learn that I was not the only fool person in the room. There's a lot of people who've done bad deals like me. And the other thing that I liked the most was the simulation sort of learning that you had. I remember we were doing Wakanda and something else. So where we were paired as investors and entrepreneurs, and then we were prepped. So depending on whether you're an investor or an entrepreneur, we were prepped before, now being put in a live discussion where you're now practically analyzing a deal and discussing valuations, negotiating your price points, just understanding the, basic term concepts to go into a term sheet. That was very, very important for me in particular. And in as much as we had been prepared, the fact that I was paired with another investor who I was then able to, just watch her, negotiate and learn something from them as well. So the peer-to-peer learning was quite useful.
Fantastic. Thanks, Jacqueline. So I just wanted to quickly, so as you can hear from our angels, if you are an entrepreneur on this call and you're thinking about doing AAA to learn how to raise angel funding, this is not the right program for you. But if you are a successful entrepreneur or an entrepreneur who's got an established business and looking to invest in the next round of entrepreneurs, we have a lot of investment professionals from above the value chain. We've got other sector specialists like Martin, who comes from a software background and financial services, playing in the angel investor space. We have a lot of lawyers as well, and professional service people also coming into the angel space. So then this is the right program for you. And then I just wanted to quickly talk to you, Kate, about how much liquidity do you recommend that you have? So I think it's a personal question and it's a personal preference, but I think the thing about angel investing is it's a pretty liquid asset. So you need to be okay that once you put your money into an investment that it's going to stay there for a while. You could potentially lose all of it, but if you're wanting a return in 6 months' time to pay school fees or deposit on a property, then angel investing is not the right thing to use. So, you know, we talked to you quite a lot in the very first module about what's your angel investing strategy. You know, what are the things that you need to consider, and how much do you can you invest in terms of your portfolio. So we also guide you through that process. And as Stephen says, while we don't tell you what to invest in, we kind of guide you around how to think about your investments. And we do encourage you to be an active angel, because that's where you learn the most. I know that we are Fiona and Stephen, I don't know how we're doing for time, but Martin and Jacqueline, I'm not sure if there's anything else that you're wanting to add to our to the cohort, any last comments, or if anyone else has got a burning question they want to ask, or you can even, I'm sure, raise your hand and we can take a question, and Fiona will give you access. I don't know if is that possible in a webinar, Fiona?
Yes, it is possible. So they can raise their hand using the reaction button at the bottom of the screens, whether on phone or on the devices.
Okay. But yeah, so Martin, I don't know, and Jacqueline, I don't know if you've got any last comments to add.
Jackie, do you want to go first?
Yeah, sure. I can go. I think just to add to the benefits I got after paying my school fees is the fact that I know I am a better investor now based on the lessons that I learned. And this was one of the most important lessons I learned from my failed deal was the fact that I was so passionate about it, in the sense that when the business was failing, I found myself turning into an entrepreneur in the name of wanting to save it. And turning into an entrepreneur meant I had already exhausted my resources. And I now found myself fundraising for that business, and it was not fun at all. I had conversations with potential investors that just were like an eye opener in terms of, if this is how entrepreneurs feel when it comes to accessing financing, then I'm better off sitting on the other side of the table so that I can be, able to contribute to make cash available for deserving businesses that could be struggling, not because they are necessarily bad, but because there's not the right kind of investors to back them. And so that was my greatest learning curve from all that experience, which is why I can afford to tell the story with a smile. And so just to encourage all the aspiring angel investors, it does get better for sure. It's very exciting, it's very interesting, and there's also fulfillment that comes with, being able to support a business in whichever way. There's different ways you can support a business, including just investing your time in them, opening up your networks to them, which they also find very valuable, helping them think through their strategies, just providing guidance. And if you have access to information, also just, sort of giving insights based on the different industries that they are in. Thank you.
Thanks, Jacqueline. Martin, over to you.
So I don't think I'm too far from where Jackie was talking about. And I think to me, at first I invest for returns. Of course, I'm willing to sit and wait the waiting period, but impact is also quite important. And when I talk about impact, it's we don't realize the power that we have as angel investors until you really get to do it and do it well, and then you see the impact. And for example, our first investment was in a healthcare startup called Pononia, and when we met them 2022, very quickly I'll run through some of the numbers. Revenue, when we met them, they had 50,000 at that year, USD. They had maybe 750 pharmacies on board. The platform supplies pharmaceutical products to pharmacists, retail pharmacists, but maybe 200 of those pharmacies were active. They were not doing any credit financing. They were just basically struggling managing inventory and how we can do. And the impact of us coming in as an angels, one, we mobilized $100,000 and we invested a lot of our time before the money, just fixing the business model and things like that. We put in 100,000, but that investment as first investors, one, opened up further investment from actual VCs who brought in over $2 million, almost $3 million now. We have grown revenue from 315 in 2022. 2023, 33 million, 36.7 million last year. We are supplying now to 3,000 pharmacies in Tanzania. We are covering all regions. We used to supply only in Dar es Salaam. They have employed up to 90 people. We are partnering with the government now to supply pregnant kits for maternal health. And when you look at that impact and the story behind, a lot of that rolled through the angel investors, so we were part of that. We brought the networks, we brought expertise, we gave comfort to the VC funds to come and invest more. And that's a story in the reach of what we can do as angels. So I think we tend to worry too much sometimes about what we can, but we can open too many doors with the knowledge that sits among us if we put it collectively together.
Thanks so much, Martin, and thanks, Jacqueline and Martin, for your time this evening. Always fantastic to get our alumni to be our spokesperson. And if there are a number of questions in the chat, but Fiona and Stephen have done a great job in answering all of them. The only one I think that wasn't answered was, will the modules be available after the cohort? And the answer is yes. And then even as an alumni, you can pay an annual fee to have access to the Thinkific platform, all the online content, the resources, and any new updates. Great. Fiona, over to you.
Maybe Alex?
Oh, sure. Sorry, Stephen. Yes.
Just before Fiona joins, I just want to mention that one of the other things that depending on any groups which are created, out of the academy, once we go through the program, we recommend that they join ABAN, and Martin is a board member of the Africa Business Angels Network. And so maybe you can just say one or two words about ABAN. We used to sit on the board of ABAN some time back, but now he's on the hot seat. So maybe Martin can say one or two things about ABAN.
So very quickly, ABAN is a network of Africa Business Angel Networks, 75 networks across Africa. A lot of angel investors, we encourage them to join these networks because that's where you can syndicate the deals. That's where you can do due diligence together. You can do a lot of hand-holding, technical assistance, work together. You can invest as an individual, but it's a lot of work. You don't get a lot of insights. So being part of a network, it's always useful. And ABAN is there to provide support to all these networks. Networks pays fees, but we also work with partners to provide that technical assistance to the networks. So I'll encourage you to join existing networks. Sometimes it's easier that way. Of course, I know AAA also encourages participants to form their networks. Either way, it's okay. But even when you form your network, just join ABAN because there's also a lot of continuous learning that you'll be getting from ABAN as well. And we are partners with AAA. So personally, we run an angel network in Tanzania. It has about 30 people, but I think I've recommended maybe over 100 people to do AAA training, and we always benefit when they come back to join the network. Thank you, Steve.
Awesome. Thank you, Alex. Thank you, Martin, Jacqueline, and Stephen, and David as well for such an incredible session. Thank you to the attendees who spent the evening with us learning more about the program. Now, this is where we hone into the attendees and look keenly to all of you. Given what you've already heard about the program and the interest and buzzing questions that we're having in the Q&A section, this is your chance to express interest in joining the program. Feel free to scan the QR code on your screens. We'll also send an application link to your emails with a recording of this info session. Disclaimer to anyone who actually applies and is accepted within the next couple of days, the response time from application to admission decision is pretty quick. We on a rolling basis, so as quick as if you apply now, we'll review and let you know whether you're in or not. So anyone who actually applies and is accepted is guaranteed to get 15% off if they pay within 24 hours of the admission decision that they get. So feel free to scan the QR code. Like I said, we'll share the application link as well, and we'll look forward to having all of you wonderful people join the cohort and catalyze closing the funding gap in the early stage ecosystem through angel investing. Awesome. Thank you, everyone. Have a great evening.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Fiona.
Thank you,
Thank you,
guys.
everyone.
Wish you guys all the
Thanks,
best.
everyone. Thank
Keep
you.
well.
Thanks, Mark.
Thank you, everyone. Goodbye.